world again today. It's so good to see you. Gina, you were the first one that came up. Glad to see you here. Be sure and put in the chat where you are from, because this is about referrals as well. We're here to collaborate, to help each other. And after all, no one succeeds alone, right? Now, I do have some things I desire to share with you. And first of all, congratulations to the 75 that have already signed up for Tony's July 23rd mastermind at 1 p.m. Central Time. So be sure that you get the time zones correct, right? That is 2 o'clock Eastern, noon Mountain Time, and 11 a.m. Pacific Time. So we'll make certain that that's going on. And then, of course, Sales Mastery. People are calling in asking for it to come back. The last one, we made adjustments based upon what y'all said the first time. We actually got into tonality where people practiced. They were coached. It was pretty fun. It again August 24th through the 27th. So just to keep everybody informed as what's going on here as people are jumping on. Now, today is about negotiations. We're talking about getting people to actually change their mind when it comes to negotiations. And Steph and Shay Shafatel literally has come up with a model. I love models. And Steph and Shay and I have been friends for many, many years. I met them. They were teachers of the NLP program that I took. It's much different than the one that many of others are taking. They've been doing this for over, gosh, 20 years or so. I don't know. Anyway, it's just a great, great couple. Wrote a book on mind power. And of course, we love speaking about the brain and how we can help change the perception of other people. So I want to show you this model and share with you today, because this is what all of you are going through when you learn scripts and dialogues, when you do anything at all. All of a sudden, you have this gut feeling, a thought that something's not just right, that something has to change. Now, there's two ways that you can go in life. One is you listen to that gut feeling and your thoughts and you figure out what needs to change. And you get help from someone like me, like Tony. The two of us can help you, or you can go to rock bottom. You know, some people just say they haven't gone low enough before they absolutely understand they've got to change. Something in their life has to change. And I love this because it's consciousness over time. And as we were looking at this, and I was discussing with Tony the other night as we were having some folks, have you ever had somebody attack you like an agent saying, well, I do better than that person? Or they're always finding something, like when I was going door to door with the little red wagon, they were saying, you really want to list your home with somebody that pulls her kids around in a little red wagon and does dishes at night? Now, remember, it was more of a man's world. Very few women were in real estate at that time. So it was a way that they could somewhat attack me, right? And it was okay because they were actually talking about me, which helped me. And the other night, we were talking about how people were saying that we're older, and they're doing all this research now on what actually makes people buy homes. And you should only work with people that are out there in the industry that are selling every day. And so they showed the 5 things that their research found are very important. We were laughing because those were the 5 things that were important in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000, how bold was written. I mean, all the things. Let me just tell you, we speak with a lot of realtors, and you all help us out so much because you're texting me, you're emailing our support staff, telling us what's happening out there, and we're on top of it. There is nothing like experience over the years. And between Tony and I, we're almost to 100 years of experience. If you can imagine, that just means that we're old. So let's get into negotiations, because there are people out there that are going to somewhat, maybe not attack you. Yeah, will bring up, have people questioning whether they should go with them or with you. It's called negotiations. At the same time, everything in life is a negotiation. If you agree with me, just put a thumbs up or put it over in the chat. Everything, because see, somebody either wants you to say yes or you want somebody else to say yes, which means that you're in negotiations. And if you say, I want, or I think, you're into negotiations. And a lot of people don't understand that. And you're probably doing 7 to 8 negotiations every single day. And then you're wondering, am I good at negotiations when it comes to contracts? Well, of course you're good. I mean, there is a stereotype out there, however, that says negotiations means I win and you lose. I don't think that's negotiations at all. I think great negotiation is about great collaboration. You may want to desire to write that down. Great negotiation is about great collaboration. It's about several people faced with different aspects of the same problem. It's the context that we're talking about, right? Because see, somebody is making something larger than it really is. They're saying this is what's important. You're saying this is what's important. And that's why it looks like a negotiation instead of realizing you have the same problem. You're just viewing it from different perspectives. That's all negotiation is. And the person across the table is the counterpart to that negotiations. And it's struggling with the same aspect, the same problem. And when we work to solve that problem together, that's when negotiations work. You can achieve your goal through collaboration. And I made notes last night, as you can tell, that I'm looking down to make certain, because see, even on a listing presentation, I have my notes in front of me. I have my questions I want to ask, most of them. I mean, are you afraid to have notes? Does that mean you're not professional? I don't think so. John Maxwell speaks all over the world, hundreds of thousands of times, it seems like, and he has notes every single talk. Notes say, I want to help, I want to make certain I don't miss anything. So our goal is collaboration, and write this word down, empathy. Empathy is not sympathy. My dad taught me many years ago that sympathy is like, let's say you come up again with somebody and they're in quicksand. Sympathy is you jump in the quicksand with them and you both go down. Empathy is where you go, oh, you're in quicksand. You go get a rope, you tie it to a car or something, and you pull them out, right? That's empathy versus sympathy. Empathy is becoming completely aware of the other person's perspective. And I don't think the agents ask enough questions when they're negotiating. In fact, I don't think they ask enough questions to actually find out about what the seller's wanting, desiring, or the way that the seller's thinking. And until we get into their brain, nothing is going to change. See, if you can really understand what's driving somebody, what's motivating somebody, then you can change their outlook. And you then, when you change their outlook, you actually change their decision making. And I have great respect for negotiations, and you don't have to adopt my philosophy on it at all. You have your own, I know. Yet, as we think about some of these things that a lot of people think, well, I've got to make my case, and then you have an argument against my case, and we go back and forth, and you tell me your value proposition, and I tell you mine. And no, no, no. I think it's about asking enough questions. And here's a way that you can do this, and we're going to get into some Q&A here. Uh, Literally, It's called mirroring. Now, mirror and matching, we talk about that in building rapport, and that's very, very important that you do that when you're negotiating. A lot of times it's over the phone. So, are you speaking at the same rate? If they talk really fast, are you talking really fast? Or if they talk slow, are you speaking slow? If they speak soft, are you speaking soft? Or if they talk really loud, are you talking loud? See, are you mirror and matching? Another mirror and match in negotiation is you listen to the words they use and you take maybe the last three words that they used and you ask questions about those words so they know that you're actually listening to them. The message we desire to say is, I heard every word that you said, and I'm proving it because I'm saying them back to you. And when you do that, people actually explain more. You want to get something out of someone and really know where they're coming from? Just keep asking them why that matters. Or, what do you mean by that? Tell me more. And then they tell you more. And the more you know, the more you can help them change the perspective that they have. So, see, people elaborate when you say, what do you mean? Now, a lot of people, you're going to say, oh, that'll never work. Yeah, it does. It works very, very well. And if you're genuinely curious, you don't say, well, what do you mean? That's like confrontation. Curiosity, like, wow, what do you mean? See, we're coming with the tone, and our body language is saying, I'm curious. I do desire to know more. We want to learn from them. And I also write down when somebody says, like, here's one, even on a listing presentation, you're negotiating, right? And or a contract about price. Let's say, well, my buyers say your price is too high. That's why we put in uh, such a low offer. And you just feed it back to them. Our price is too high? What do you mean? Now you're going to find out the motivation of their people. They're going to start saying more, and then you feed back maybe the last three words and say, okay, well, so what do you mean by that? See, we're going to elaborate. Now, as you do these things, let me tell you, oh, wow, this is what's going to happen within your mind, okay? Put your thumb up, take your right hand and put your thumb up. I'm looking at everybody here, okay? Take your left hand and put your finger out, just your finger. Yeah, no thumb on that one. Okay, this is what happens in your brain when you're learning something new. Now, take and make this thumb go up and this finger go out and see if you can do that and how fast you can do that. Bill, you're looking like everybody. It's like, I can't even figure this out. I
You've
don't
been
know what's
practicing.
going on. It's so funny. So, Bill, what happened with your hands when you were doing that?
They weren't coordinated. I started noticing, hey, you're not dropping this thumb. You're dropping these fingers, but you're not dropping this one.
Well, that's what your brain goes through when you're learning something new. And people go back to their old ways because of the pathways that they formed in their brain. See, these are the things that we're able to help people with that nobody else out there is going to be helping you with it because nobody else is studying it. That's when somebody came to me and they said, hey, I just keep going back to my old ways. And I go, yeah, because it's awkward to change. Being awkward is an indication that you're learning. And people look at awkward as bad. I look at it as a return on investment. Go through that awkward stage. When our granddaughter was learning gymnastics, she didn't get up on the balance beam and do a backflip to begin with. No, she put tape down on the floor, the of a balance beam, doing backflip after backflip to see where she landed. And when she landed over and over and over again on the beam that was on the floor where she couldn't get hurt, she started doing it on the beam. And of course, became very, very good at it and took many, many of those little medals that they like. We're finding about 63 to 64 repetitions is when you're starting to get good. Not great. 63 to 64 repetitions. Okay, Ronnie, I've talked long enough. Let's go. Are you guys learning something? Are you learning something about negotiations? No? Yes? All right, good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love to get some feedback on this. I literally let me just show you, if you will. This is so funny. I could give a class on negotiations. I started typing last night, and that's what I ended up typing about negotiations. I think it could be a 7-day class the way it looks. Yet I've given you some of the highlights on the first 4 pages, 5 pages. See, you just need the highlights. It's all good. And here's one thing, though, I've got to say, Ronnie, before I give it over to you. Don't ever use these words. What I'm hearing you say. Now, why would you use those words? What I'm hearing you say is because there's this one word in there that makes it about you. What is that word?
I.
What
Yeah.
yes, it's not about you in negotiations. So when you say, what I'm hearing you say is this means something to you. No, 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 no. Last 3 words, what does that mean? See, yeah, the minute you say you're going to lose the negotiations. I'm just going to tell you that, yeah, their mind already picked up that it's all about you. We got to make it about their perception, not about them, about their perception. Okay, Ronnie, you're up. And I'm going to tap some tea.
So a long time ago, I heard you state, I think we were talking about putting in an offer, and you said it's not about beating up the seller. And I've always kept that in my head when I'm negotiating, meaning whether I'm on the seller side representing them or representing the buyer, I can hear you say, Ronnie, it's not about beating them up. So if they're asking for everything, just come back with empathy and be the right way. So thank you for
Oh, you're
implanting that in
good.
me.
Well, you know what I find about you, Ronnie, is you take things and you implement them and you prove that they're right. And I appreciate that because you're always coming back. And the other thing that you do very well that most people do not, I mean, it's not a bad thing, just most people don't think about it. When you quote somebody, you give them credit. I can't tell you how many things out there that you say over and over and over again, and then somebody takes it like, hey, this is me. I said it all by myself. I did it all by myself. This stuff that I learned, this stuff here, isn't stuff I came up with. Most of it is from Chris, who wrote Split the Difference, one of the greatest negotiators of all time for the FBI. What he learned in negotiations for the FBI, a lot of it we use in real estate because negotiation is negotiation. No, I don't take credit, just like Steph and Shay. That was a beautiful model. I could have said, hey, here's the model of change. But no, you honor the people that say it and you honor the people that write it. That's just integrity. Okay, Chase, you're up.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Diana. I appreciate what you said about how it's really negotiations are someone making something larger than it really is. Here's what I'm experiencing, a few things. Number one is getting the communication to the client on the other side. So if I'm a buyer helping the listing agent understand the perspective so that they go to their client and then communicate it. So it seems as though many agents are making decisions or negotiating for their clients, but not actually having that conversation. And I'll give you an example. I had a buyer that made an offer on a home, list price, and when they received the offer, the agent said, "Oh, we're going to increase the price. That's not going to be the one." And the reason was because prior to my buyer, the contract fell out. Yet during that time, the seller did repairs and is basically increasing their price to now cover the repairs. So the two things that I'm seeing is, number one, the challenges in helping the agent understand, even sometimes getting them on the phone, right? Some are just sticking to text, which kind of removes the tone and the body language. And then two, this idea that sellers doing repairs that are needed to their property warrants a now I'm going to increase the price.
Right. You know, the people brought their home up to standard. That's all they did. And you and I understand that. They just brought it up to standard, because if they didn't have those items done, it would have been even probably a lesser price, right? There's some things that happen within people's mind. They don't want to give up. You got to give up to go up. And a lot of agents don't express that to their people, and therefore they don't want to give an inch. They believe that everything, they kind of go into that narcissistic behavior. I've seen it, you've seen it over and over again. And when it comes to agent and this texting, because I know I reached out, I made 25 phone calls yesterday. 2 people picked up the phone. I texted the other people that didn't. You know what? They text right back. I go, so I know they've got their phone. Now, they could have been in a place where they couldn't take a phone call. I get that, because that happens to me as well. And it's almost to where you want to put in your contracts, agent representing the seller agrees that they will speak on the phone about this contract, that nothing will be done through text unless the phone call, voice to voice, is done first. I mean, literally, it's almost getting to that point, because if you don't have their tonality, you're going to put in your own. Just like man without, how does that go, Nicole? Come on, help me out here. Woman without her man is nothing, or woman is nothing. Yeah, there you go. Where's the comma? Yeah. Or I didn't say Bob took that, I just implied it, right? All of those different things start coming out, and it's challenging to negotiate. Now, notice every negotiation, whether you watch, what are some of those shows? Blue Blood, FBI, Law and Order, all those different ones. They don't ever negotiate by text. Can you imagine a bank robber in the bank? They're texting back and forth. I think that would be quite the movie. Nobody would watch it. And yet agents, anyway, that's just my thought process, having some fun with you all, is why would you text over a negotiation? Also about price. When it comes to buyers and they want to put in a ridiculously low price, how many of you besides me have ever had a buyer that wanted to offer something absolutely ridiculous? Well, one of the things to remind them is, I understand. Everybody I've ever worked with wants to do what you desire to do. They want to steal a home instead of buying it. And I'd love to do that myself. I get it. Yet, see, $1,000 to you is $6.44 a month, or whatever 1,000 is according to the interest rate. Yet $1,000 to the seller is $1,000. So before we make an offer, let's think about that. When we offer something, we're taking that money out of their pocket because that is money that will come to them as a net amount. And so $1,000 is not the same. It's different, okay? Yet in their mind, it's the same. We've got to make certain they understand it's different. So those are the things that we've even got to convince ourselves of. It's like I represent you, and representing you, much like an attorney, if they represent someone, they have to tell them the odds of what might happen, and they have to be honest. And you do want an agent to be honest with you, right? Okay. So anytime I'm telling you the truth, you're probably going to feel a little uncomfortable, maybe even a little upset. And yes, we can put in that offer, and chances are we're going to just slam right, like slapping them in the face, and they're going to come back full price. If we really desire to take the property for less, are you basing it on the prices that you're seeing of what's sold? Or are you doing that just because someone said you need to offer less? And then they say, oh, somebody told me. So somebody told me. What exactly does that mean? And they'll probably go, well, it means they told me. Yes, they told you. And what does it mean about moving forward? Well, I feel like I need to do that so I can tell them I did. Now we're getting down to what is it behind. They don't want to look bad to their friends. Well, why would you tell your friends what you bought the house for? They don't need to know. Tell them if you get it for 500 less, you beat them up in price, right? I mean, there's a lot of different ways. Let the person win in some way. Yet you've got to have a big enough open mind that it's not about you winning. Because see, sometimes that ego inside of us wants to take over. Well, when you're going to lose. Ego is the death of most realtors, most business people, most everybody, whatever you're doing. When ego starts playing, ego generally loses. I think ego stands for edging God out. You might think it's for something else, eliminate growth opportunity. I've heard them all. Yet to me, it just doesn't work, never has. So Chase, tell me, what did you do and how did you handle that situation?
So the buyer decided not to move forward, unfortunately. And that's where I'm seeing a lot of, and that's why I said the conversations that we're having with our agent, because that's where that stalemate is going. And in the empathizing aspect, it's you have a conversation with your buyer to make an offer at full price, and then the agent's like, oh no, we're going to increase it. So unfortunately, we didn't move forward with that contract.
So basically, there's a couple of things there, and I don't want to get into legalities because I'm not an attorney. If it's still advertised at full price, then you brought a full price offer in. Now, the other part I would attach and say to the agent possibly is, so is what you're saying you don't want to be paid? I'm just curious. I mean, what do you think they might say back? Well, of course I want to be paid. Then let's work at this and figure this out, because then we'll both get paid. And you just said that's what you wanted, right? So what would happen if we bring in a full price offer? Are you saying that you won't present it? And if not, may I ask why not? They still have to present the offer. Now, if he goes and presents it and comes back with they want more money, you may even ask, they want more money. What does that really mean? Well, it means they want more money. No, what does it really mean to them? Maybe what are they doing with the money?
They say,
Do they even
well, you
know?
know, the last inspection, they fixed the foundation and, you know, corrected a lot of the things from the inspection report. So that's why they're increasing it.
Congratulations, they brought that up to standard, because if they didn't do that, they would still have the inspection items. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you brought the home up to standard, and so you're going to increase the price by having a home that actually sells. And then they're going to say something, and you just come back with the last 3 words that they say and say, so what does that mean? And you just keep asking them, because see, a lot of times it's not about combating them, even though like bringing it up to standards is a little bit of a combating. Yet, what do you mean by they brought it up to standards? I could even say that. So they brought it up to standards by doing what the inspector said had to be done for them to sell the house. So what does bringing it to standards mean? And let them tell you back. See, let them start defending their perception. And by them speaking, they're going to start. Here's what happens in the brain. The more they explain, the bigger their perception gets. Because right now, it's higher price, higher price, higher price. Explain about the inspection now bringing it to standards. They had to pay, they want a higher price to get paid back. So by bringing it to standards, they deserve more. What does that mean? Well, it means that, and see, they start explaining more and more, which opens up the brain. That's all we want to do. We want to open it up to a bigger perception. See, if I'm looking here, I'm looking here, my vision just got wider. I'm looking here, my peripheral vision just keeps going and going until I see both of my fingers until I don't see it anymore. That's what we're doing. Taking what they say is absolute and asking enough questions that they themselves are moving to a broader way of viewing to where that thing is completely gone out of their mind. And a lot of times people don't want to negotiate that long. I don't mean the other person, because the other person's ego, the minute it's involved, will always defend what they desire to say or what they believe. And the more they defend it, if you bring in the word I, they're going to defend it and push back more. If you don't, you just keep asking, their defense starts going down. So I hope that's helping everyone. I know it's 9:03 right now. We got to 99 on the call today. We've been hitting 100 to 130, and on the line, we're having a lot more people jump on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all these others. I just want to appreciate all of you that are on the Zoom. It is so much fun to see your faces. Put out there in the chat what you learned today. And Kelly, start telling us what some of the people are saying. Did you learn anything about negotiations? Because we're here to help you. Tony, anything you want to add to this? Any questions you got for them?
Lots of gratitude in the chats, Dianna. Lots of gratitude about doing this. Lots about negotiation, collaboration, perspective. Lots of good stuff. Be sure everyone checks out the chat. And don't forget Tony's free Q&A on July 23rd. The link is in the chat.
Yeah, his mastermind. His mastermind. He'll be having you guys participate in that one more than I had participation today. Kelly, you're so good. And Sales Mastery, the
Mhm.
24th through the 27th. And aren't we changing the time on that one? Is that one at 10:30
Yes,
instead of
ma'am.
11:30 Central? Okay,
Yes,
so it'll
ma'am.
be 10:30.
And just to say, Diana, we actually had 105 on here at one point. Just going to let you
Oh,
know it was 105. So y'all keep
well,
telling everybody you think would benefit. Grow the room, grow the results. We can do
that,
this.
and more importantly, let's grow your referrals because this is
Yes.
about you. We don't take anything for this. We're just pouring into you, and that's what we desire to do. Love you all. Thank you so much. I'll see you next Tuesday, okay? Or actually, Tony's going to be doing next Tuesday. See you later. Bye-bye.